is you're willing to pay the piper when life is put on the line. Well, think about it. Technically, your life is always put on the line when you make a decision, because it's the decisions that you make that make your life. Think about that for a sec. Hi, I'm Walker. Welcome to Walker Wisdom, the home and main channel of the Walker Wisdom Show. Nothing comes free in life. Nothing at all. There is always a cost that you have to pay. No matter what situation, no matter what decision, no matter what it is that you tell me that it is that you want to talk about, there is always a cost. There is always something that you have to pay, no matter what it is. This process is called paying the piper. The piper being the overwhelming decision and cost of the things that you've done. So you must pay the piper. This came up twice alone in this last week, which is why I want to talk about this specifically. I was talking to my father a couple days ago, and in the conversation we're talking about how no matter what we do, there is always going to be a cost for something. And I even pointed out that no matter, even if the things that come free, you still have to pay attention to them. If I am giving you this knowledge for free, nothing actually is free. Nothing whatsoever, because you have to be willing to pay the piper, the cost of paying attention. You have to pay the bill for the internet. You have to pay something. There's always something you have to pay. But the overwhelming factor of any of this is paying the piper. As I said, the piper being the result, being what comes out of paying that. And he who pays the piper calls the tune. Meaning, the person who pays for something controls how it's done. Now, technicality, I would say that's not always true. Because sometimes you may be paying something that you don't even know the result of. And the second point that made me bring up this video, because I said there were two, was recently in my personal life, I'm doing, in the fitness industry, we call it cutting. I do bodybuilding, and in bodybuilding, you do two phases. Well, you do many phases, but two main ones. Well, three main ones, alright? And that is bulking, maintaining, and cutting. I don't do maintaining because I believe it's a waste of time. So for me, for me, it's bulking and cutting. And the last year, I've maintained the bulk. And while my time was off, I got constipated from eating too much processed protein. And it got me, it got my stomach clogged up. So, I had to start my cut 2 months early, which is what I'm in the process of now. Which is why I look much thinner than I normally do. If I take my shirt, you can see I'm thinning down way more than I used to be, because I'm no longer bulking. I went from a 4,000 calorie surplus to a calorie deficit of 1,500 calories. Which is what cutting is. It's eating at a calorie deficit that allows your body to shift and you eat more clean. The point being is I have to pay the piper. Well, what piper am I paying? Bro, there's no piper that you're paying, dude. You're just looking cooler. Yeah, nice and all. But I'm losing size. And where's that size coming from? Muscle. So all the muscle that I took my time to grow is now shining off. It's starting to be cut off because the energy supplied to my body has to come from something. So it takes away from my muscle. Now, it's just an example. But guys, this is everything. Sometimes people have to be shown this in order to realize what I'm talking about. To pay the piper is a result of the things that you do, okay? And sometimes the payment method will vary depending on the weight of the decision, okay? So, time and money, which is another one. You can pick money, but that means that you're not spending a lot of time with other people. You're not spending a lot of time with the people that you love, unless you get things figured out, right? And if you pick time, sometimes you don't care about money. Sometimes you care about time spent with your family. Sometimes you care about time spent with your significant other. Sometimes you care about these things. Sometimes the cost can be at the cost of the other thing. For example, you might be putting time into making money in order to spend more time later in the future, right? Instant gratification and long-term gratification, right? Delayed gratification. Sometimes, in order to get that delayed gratification, by putting off that instant gratification, you give up whatever it is that you're trying to work towards getting more of, because they're going to get sick and tired of you not being there. You have to pay the piper. You have to pay the piper. This is a pencil, and depending on perspective, this is just a pencil, right? So many things come out of this pencil, right? I can write with it. I can draw with it. I can have a pencil, right? It breaks. What's coming out of the pencil now? You have to pay the piper. And this is the decision of making the tune. You call the tune. This is the tune you make. You either complain that now you no longer have one pencil, or you put this in a sharpener, you put this in a sharpener, and you got 3 whopping pencils. Yes, you're missing an eraser, my friend, but you got 3 whopping pencils. Point is you have to pay the piper in some way, shape, or form. And now the cost is that now you look stupid using 2 tiny pencils all over the place. Point, put aside, okay? You have to pay the piper. If you're going to keep putting in the effort, if you're going to keep putting in consistent work, if you're going to eat right, if you're going to put the diet, it comes at a cost. If you want to lose weight, if you want to eat properly, if you want to be healthy, it comes at the cost of instant gratification. It comes at the cost of eating the foods you like. It comes at the cost of losing that weight, losing that mass, losing the advantage of being heavier. But it also comes at the cost of doing things easier with your life, maneuvering better, becoming healthier long term. Everything comes at a cost. Nothing in this life is free. Free food, okay, it's given out to you, but even that's not free. Because down the line, it adds up some way, shape, or form. Let's say the food has a virus. Let's say the food just so happens to be given to you because it's out of date. And now, you're at a potential of a stomach virus. Or now, you're at the potential of missing out on another food that's more valuable and more concerning to your actual health because you ate that. There is always the cost. Whether you know it or not, you have to pay the piper. And everybody has to pay the piper. But you have to make the decision to pay the piper. You're the one making the decisions. You're the one sitting in the big chair. Okay? You make the decision whether or not to go out with that woman. You make the decision whether or not to spend time and money and resources on that woman. Just like that woman, you also take the time to dedicate time towards that business. You're the one who pays for the business. You're the one who puts resources to the business. The point is the consequence that comes out of it is paying the piper. The piper being whether or not it works out. Whether or not your family still wants to support you. Whether or not your family even likes you because you're no longer the person that you used to be because you're spending so much time becoming somebody that you weren't. You have to pay the piper. And if you do not pay the piper, I don't know what planet you're living on. I don't know what universe you're living on. And I don't know what thing you are. Because every living thing and everything that matters, whether it be a star in the sky or a person living on this planet, you have to pay the piper. Your piper is different depending on the value of the thing that you're doing and the decision that you're making. Payment method is different. Your heart and the cost of love might be the payment. The cost of you missing out dearly on somebody else's life. You missing out on your child's life because you wanted to give them a fulfilling life because you worked and worked and worked and worked. But at the cost, you didn't see them grow up. You didn't see the beautiful face on your wife when she seen him say his first words. You didn't see the face on your beautiful wife when she expressed how much it was to see him learn to walk. You weren't there in those moments because you paid the piper. The question is was it really worth it? It might have been. It's a regret you have to be willing to make. Sometimes the weight of regret stains way, way, way more than the stain of failure. Failure will be there, but at least it teaches you a lesson. Regret lasts a lifetime. A lifetime. When you're on your deathbed, in all honesty, you won't think of your failures. Because in all honesty, those are what made you who you are. But that one big failure, that one big mistake, that one, and you know which one it is. You know which one it's going to be. You know which one it may lead to. You're willing to make that mistake. You're willing to pay the piper on that. Ask yourself, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? You have to pay the piper. You have to. You have to pay the piper on whether or not you want to get big and strong and now you fit none of your clothes. You have to pay the piper on whether or not to get thin and skinny and miss out on eating out with your family and eating out with your honey and eating out with all these other things, okay? You have to pay the price. You have to pay the price. It comes at a cost. Everything comes at a cost. You're watching this video, and right now, you're thinking, well, at least this is free. No, I said it way earlier in the video. You have to pay attention. You have to pay. You have to pay attention. Notice, it's not give attention. You can give your attention, but that's a form of payment, numbnut. You have to give me your attention. That's a payment, okay? I don't know what you learned in school, but that's a payment. You're giving me something of yours. You're giving me something that you value, your attention. Do you give your attention to anybody else you don't want to listen to? Truthfully? No, you don't. That's why you shut off that stupid teacher that you hate listening to. That's why you shut off that video that you no longer like. That's why you quit watching a series that gets boring. Because you're no longer paying attention. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to you. Just like it's not worth paying those $50 for them stupid cups of coffee. Okay? Pick your payment. Is it really worth it? Is it really worth sitting on your butt all day? Missing out on opportunities, forgetting and avoiding to adapt to new circumstances just because of instant gratification? So you're not willing to evaluate your life, but you're willing to evaluate those $50 in your wallet. But let me ask you another question. Pay the piper on this one. If I gave you $1 million and I said, would you take this $1 million? What would you say? Yeah, I would take the $1 million. Of course, who won it? At one cost. Here's the piper you have to pay. You don't wake up in the morning. You don't get to see your family. You don't get to see your friends. You're dead. Depending on life choices, it's where you end up that matters. But would you take the $1 million then? No, I guarantee you wouldn't. And I'll tell you why. You know what that means? Your life is way more than $1 million. And your life is way more than $10 million and anything else. Okay? The point is you're willing to pay the piper when life is put on the line. Well, think about it. Technically, your life is always put on the line when you make a decision. Because it's the decisions that you make that make your life. Think about that for a sec. Yeah? Something to think about, huh? You always have to pay the piper, my friend. Just remember, who pays the piper calls the tune. So make the decision and make sure you're doing it with coordination and doing it with proper study on whatever you're doing. Put in the work and the effort will show. You have to pay the piper. Just make sure the payment method is worth it. I'll see you guys next time.